Thought to originate way back in the 1800s by a Hungarian physician von Peskly, the iris map has developed since the 1800s. He postulated that the iris mirrored tissue changes within the body and its various organs, and that there was a reflex relationship between the various markings in the iris and with the rest of the body. Each of our irises is completely unique to us. An iridologist will classify an iris into different groupings. A blue iris, typically known as a lymphatic iris, or very often silk, shows probably the strongest of constitutions. However, this tendency of acid to build up in somebody's body is shown by the white fibres that overlay the blue of an iris. This means that they are prone to inflammation of joints, have more mucus produced because of this. Food allergies, irritable bowel syndrome, and inflammation in general is quite common in these types. The next iris colour is actually a blue iris with a brown coloured overlay. This overlay of colour over a blue iris or a green iris tends to show a lack of digestive enzyme function, and this means that the liver, the pancreas and the gallbladder are quite sensitive. What happens as a result is there is poor breakdown and assimilation of nutrients, and a lot of intestinal bloating and discomfort can be felt. Typically these people present as people who are quite tired as well. The third iris type, which is actually the only true brown iris, is where the pigmentation is so thick and so dense over the iris that it's very rare for little freckles, markings and specks to show up, and actually case taking becomes quite important. Typically though, the hematogenic blood type will have blood irregularities, heart problems and high blood pressure. They require a lot of high physical activity to burn off a lot of stress, and it is very unusual to see any permanent dark markings in these eyes, but if you do, it means you have to pay extra special attention to them. The structure of the iris is also completely unique to individuals. The wider the fibres are apart in somebody's iris tend to indicate the weakness of their immune systems. If they're very, very wide apart, then they have very weak immune systems and are prone to getting every cough and cold going around. However, they're also very, very open emotionally, and they tend not to suffer with stress that much. The neurogenic fibres in this person's blue iris indicate that they have got a very, very strong constitution. There are then very particular signs that come into an iris, such as psoric spots. Psoric spots typically appear like a freckle in the iris, and they're very obviously different in texture and colour and position. The flecks are hard-edged. They can be brown, yellow, orangey or white in coloration. These psora are inherited genetic predispositions, and according to where they appear in the iris, there are organs and systems underneath that will be affected by this genetic predisposition. Special attention, therefore, is required to take care of these particular organs and systems, knowing that they are part of their genetic makeup. Our next sign is something that we call lacuna. These are typically holes in the fibres where the fibres have parted. They can either be closed, which means they've got a border around them, or they can be open. What the closed ones indicate is that there is a genetic predisposition over whichever organ or system is represented underneath, and that may show that an ancestor has had a particular disease in that area. Colourings in the middle of an iris mean different things as well. If it is a straw yellow, then often that indicates the kidneys. Bright yellow, however, means the liver and gallbladder might be under functioning. Bright red, it usually means that the stomach is inflamed. Wherever you see red-brown or dark colours, it means that the liver and the colon together are not eliminating toxins properly from the body. There are many other signs, such as congested lymphatic system, there are pigmentation signs, there are furrow signs, there are lines, there are things that indicate the nervous system is not in good order, and these are called nerve rings or stress lines. The point of a consultation is to come along to an iridologist and have them look at their eyes and begin to ascertain where those weakness areas might be. Here I am, and I'm explaining to the patient that what I'm going to be looking at, as I shine this torch in her eyes, is represented in a map, and I will be pointing out which areas of this map correlate with weakness areas that I'm seeing in her eyes. It's really important that the client be involved in the consultation and that you explain how the system works, that whilst you're looking in somebody's eyes, you're being clear about what you're seeing, and you are helping the client to recognise early warning signs that they might otherwise miss. These pictures here show the patient's eyes that I'm looking at. What's coming up in this patient's eyes is a lot of lymphatic congestion immediately in the area surrounding the pupil. This represents the stomach area, the stomach zone, and the congestion shown here indicates that there is a weakness in digestive enzymes in this patient. Therefore, there will be more congestion accumulating in the eliminatory systems of this person, the kidneys and the bladder being one of them. I would then ask the patient whether or not they have any signs of kidney or bladder weakness. In fact, this patient confirmed for me that she regularly suffers with cystitis. The congestion that's building up in this patient's eye is coming from a very dark area directly around the pupil, which is a representation of the stomach zone. This shows that her hydrochloric acid and her general digestive enzyme activity is quite low, and because of this, food is not being digested and assimilated properly. An iridologist, if she's a herbalist and a naturopath as well, would then be able to guide, based on what the iris is telling her, how this person can strengthen, tonify and rectify any weakness areas in their body, thus preventing further disease from happening. That's the beauty of the iris diagnosis, is it helps us to ascertain the problem areas before they actually become problems. This is about preventing disease from occurring in the body, not allowing it to occur and then having to treat it afterwards.